where materials can be easily recycled and composted, and where landfills are no longer needed because the materials we use have value and are used again and again and again. Walmart aspires to become a regenerative company. We want to shift from the take, make, dispose approach to one that values reuse and the regeneration of materials and energy. There's more ahead as we rethink packaging and waste. Over the next few years, we will need everyone's help: suppliers, packaging companies, merchants, and leaders to pilot and test new ideas. We hope you will join us in this journey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Walmart's Sustainable Packaging Summit. My name is Jane Ewing, and I'm the Senior Vice President for Sustainability at Walmart. We've been on this sustainability journey for over 15 years, and in 2020, we elevated our ambition by committing to becoming a regenerative company, one that places nature and humanity at the center of our business. That means conserving and restoring. It means replenishing and renewing. Accordingly, our sustainability efforts prioritize people and the planet by aiming to source responsibly, eliminating waste and emissions, and protecting and restoring nature. Addressing waste is a key part of this commitment, and it's one that we believe is a fundamentally interconnected element of our work to shift from sustainability towards regeneration. At our annual Sustainability Milestone Summit last month, we established a new aspiration to achieve a 15% absolute reduction of our virgin plastic footprint by 2025. Given our scale and volume, we believe the actual impact of this 15% will be monumental, both in terms of tons and the signal this will send to our suppliers and our manufacturers. Our virgin plastic footprint includes any plastic that is produced from new materials rather than recycled ones. And we aim to do this by reducing the amount of plastic used altogether, as well as replacing with recycled content and reusing materials. In line with our commitment to pursue 100% recyclable, reusable, or industrially compostable private brand packaging by 2025, this goal represents the work we're doing along with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation to shift towards a circular economy. Today is going to be all about plastic and packaging, and most of you are joining us understand that reducing plastic is not a simple challenge. It's a multidimensional, and it requires interventions at all the different stages, changing how we design, developing new tools to accelerate the use of substituting materials, embedding the circular economy principles into the product life cycle, as well as working across sectors to scale recycling and reusability habits with sensible policies and purposeful collaboration. It requires us constantly asking what's next, because the situation is urgent. As many of you know, approximately half of all plastics ever manufactured have been made in the past 15 years, according to National Geographic. And increased plastic use, including that of single-use and non-recyclable plastics, means more plastic is ending up in our environment and in our waterways. For instance, according to the EPA, people use about 1 trillion plastic bags a year globally. In the US, each bag is used for an average of just 12 minutes, and fewer than 10% of those are recycled. So the next 4 years are going to be pivotal in this work. As of 2021, 59% of our private brand packaging is estimated to be recyclable, reusable, or industrially compostable, and there's much more to be done ahead to get to that 100% target. Plastic and non-recyclable packaging is deeply interconnected with emissions, ocean pollution, and biodiversity. It requires our attention, our scale, and it requires innovation. We're in the most decisive decade of our times on the plastic crisis and climate action. So let's get started with the summit. In the next hour or so, you're going to hear from multiple Walmart leaders, some of our NGO partners, our suppliers, and some innovators. We're going to hear about new solutions for packaging, how to develop plastic reduction strategies, as well as a game about EPR. Trust me, you won't regret attending. First up is Sander from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Sander, thank you for being here today, and please take it away.
Hi, I'm Sander de Fred, and I'm leading all our work on plastics at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Our plastic system is broken. We take, make, and waste plastics, and as a result, millions of tons of plastic leak into the environment, end up in landfills, or are burned. This is harming biodiversity, is using up finite resources, and is contributing to the climate crisis. We know we will not recycle our way out of this, and cleaning up, burning, or burying plastics is also not a solution. What we need is a circular economy for plastics, in which we eliminate the plastics that we don't need, innovate the plastics that we do need to make sure they're all reusable, recyclable, or compostable, and circulate all the plastics we use to keep them in our economy. To achieve that, over 1,000 organizations have joined the New Plastics Economy Global Commitment and our global network of plastic pacts. They're all uniting behind one common vision of a circular economy for plastics and behind concrete 2025 targets to help realize that vision. We've just launched our third annual progress report, creating transparency on the progress that all businesses and governments that signed up to the global commitment have made. And I'd like to highlight three key things from that last report. First of all, the use of virgin plastics in packaging for all brands and retailers in the global commitment seem to have peaked. After decades of growing use of virgin plastics, we saw a small decrease in virgin plastic use for the second time in a row. And in the coming years, this use of virgin plastics is set to fall even faster, because this year we made it mandatory for all brands and retailers in the global commitment to set reduction targets. And those jointly add up to an overall 20% reduction in virgin plastic use between 2025 and 2018. And that's a really important milestone, because this is many of the world's largest brands and retailers, including Walmart, Unilever, Nestle, L'Oreal, Coca-Cola, and many more, showing that business growth can be decoupled from virgin plastic use. And that's a very strong signal to the rest of the industry to follow their lead and set similar reduction targets, because for the industry at large, we're not yet seeing this peak and virgin plastic use is still growing. The second key insight is that progress has largely been driven by recycling and using more recycled content, but this is not enough to solve plastic pollution. We must urgently see way more focus on solutions that also eliminate the need for single-use packaging in the first place. For the second year in a row, our signatories significantly increased their use of recycled content. Despite COVID, they, in 2020, used 29% more recycled content than the year before. And that's a very strong increase, and that's absolutely great. However, we all know that we won't recycle our way out. All of our signatories have explicitly recognized that we won't recycle our way out. And that's why it is alarming to see very little progress, and worse, even very little efforts and trying on the other parts of the solution, the parts of the solution that go beyond recycling and that reduce the need for single-use packaging in the first place. To illustrate that, less than 2% of the signatories' plastic packaging is reusable. In other words, 98% is single-use. For more than half of our signatories, the percent reusable is even 0%. And more than half have also not launched a single reuse pilot in 2020. But there was a small group of 11% of the signatories that did launch more than 3 reuse pilots in 2020, and that included Nestle, Unilever, L'Oreal, and a few other leaders. So we need to see much more urgent focus on upstream solutions. We need to see upstream innovation to rethink how we deliver products to consumers without packaging or using reusable packaging. This doesn't just allow us to design out waste, but also to design out carbon emissions and create new opportunities for businesses. And our Upstream Innovation Guide and the related tools are freely available to really help companies get started also on that part of the solution. And then finally, the third key message is around zooming out a bit from the global commitment itself and seeing that it's very clear that voluntary efforts alone won't be enough to address this very vast and truly global issue that we're facing. They need to be complemented by policy action. Global commitment signatories represent just over 20% of all plastic packaging globally. That's very significant, and their leadership is crucial in raising the ambition level and showing what's possible. But at the same time, it means that 80% is not represented, is not committed to these same ambitious targets. And that's why policy plays a crucial role in both supporting leaders in achieving their ambitions, but also driving laggards to action. One specific policy action that gathered very broad government, industry, and public society support is a global treaty on plastics, the equivalent of a Paris Climate Agreement, but then for plastics. Such an agreement or treaty could set a very clear direction and a high common standard for all governments and all stakeholders around the world to jointly drive the transition to a circular economy for plastics in a way that's truly global. And in February 2022, in just a few months from now, all national governments will gather at the next UN Environment Assembly. That's a unique opportunity to turn that momentum into an actual official negotiation mandate for such a treaty. And that's an opportunity we cannot afford to miss. A second policy action that also gathered very broad support is extended producer responsibility. Last June, over 150 organizations, including many of the world's largest brands and retailers, those that themselves would be the ones contributing financially through those EPR schemes, have jointly recognized that EPR is a necessary part of the solution, that it's the only proven way to provide the funding required to make the economics work for packaging recycling, and that without such EPR policies, packaging collection and recycling is unlikely to be meaningfully scaled. So those are very, very strong messages and very constructive signal that we hope many governments around the world will pick up on in order to really accelerate the development of EPR policies. Because what they're saying is that not doing so is simply not an option if we want to address packaging waste and pollution. So to wrap up, what does this mean for you? First of all, set an ambitious reduction target following the example of a couple of dozen leading brands and retailers. Pick up our Upstream Innovation Guide and massively ramp up your efforts, ambitions, investments to develop reuse and packaging-free innovations. And thirdly, support the development of a global treaty on plastics and EPR policy around the world. Thank you.
Hi, I am Maggie Chang, Director, Initiatives and Implementation, Private Brands at Sam's Club, and Packaging SBN Co-Lead. Today, we're going to learn more about what's happening at Walmart to meet our 2025 packaging goals and the challenges we're facing and how we're working to overcome those challenges. Here with me to dig in are 4 leaders from Walmart and Sam's Club. Diana, I hear there's a lot going on in Hardlines to accelerate the impact on our packaging goals. Can you tell us about some of the things they're doing to achieve our 2025 goals?
Thanks, Maggie. One example that comes to mind is that using more sustainable packaging is a key priority for our suppliers. Knowing this, my team is working diligently with our suppliers to do the following. 1, remove plastic from our packaging where possible, and where it's not, we'll do our best to use recycled plastic and improve the recyclability of the materials. To get our customers engaged and to help educate them, we're also adding a how-to recycle label. Each category within the Hardlines team has an appointed sustainability champion. Their role is to promote our sustainability goals and encourage the team to work towards achieving them, especially through our sustainable packaging goals and product innovation. Each quarter, these champions update their teams on their own progress, and they share them with me as well. This last quarter, for example, we completed sustainability walkthroughs for 85% of the entire division. These walkthroughs help the entire team learn how to use less and or eliminate plastic in our packaging, and really thinking about driving consistency across the categories. If a supplier can improve the packaging in one product, they most likely can do it in others.
What are some of the biggest packaging challenges you're facing in Hardlines? Tell us a bit more about how you're working through these challenges.
One of the biggest challenges that we have in Hardlines is the use of expanded polystyrene in our packaging. Expanded polystyrene, or EPS, is commonly referred to as styrofoam. EPS is not recyclable. It damages the environment, and Walmart has a goal to eliminate it from our private brand packaging by 2025. Earlier this year, we sent communication to all general merchandise suppliers asking them to support our EPS goal by submitting quotes that include more sustainable packaging. As a starting point, we are working to remove EPS from patio furniture and items found in our heating and cooling department. We've had a lot of success with our private brand grills by replacing EPS foam with molded fiber. This is equivalent to removing about 1,200 truckloads of EPS from our packaging.
Absolutely. Hi, Melody. What is the PET team doing to reduce plastic packaging and meet our 2025 goals on packaging?
In the pet category, we have an aspiration to use less plastic and flexible pet food packaging. Across national and private brands, we're exploring how to reduce the headspace in pet bags and finding alternative materials for non-recyclable plastic packaging. To improve recycling of the plastics we use in our private label dog treat packaging, for example, we are testing a plastic bag that you can bring back to the store for recycling along with your single-use plastic Walmart shopping bags.
That's great. And what are some of the biggest packaging challenges you've seen in the pet category? And how are you working through these challenges?
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. We've also been participating in sustainability walkthroughs in the pet department. And as we reviewed the different types of packaging, we found that innovation is needed for hard to recycle packaging, such as multi-material pet food bags. Finding a recyclable solution in our pet food bags is our biggest challenge right now. There's so many of them. And because those bags are made of so many different materials, we need our suppliers and our packaging manufacturers to help us make overall plastic pet bags more recyclable and help us find better packaging types. Innovation is happening all the time, and we need you to help connect us to these solutions.
Hi, Tyler. What would you say the biggest challenges you see in deli, meat, seafood packaging, and how are you tackling this?
Well, meat certainly is a tough area when it comes to packaging. One of our biggest challenges we have is finding good alternative to our EPS foam meat trays. We've tried various solutions, including vacuum skin packaging or VSP, roll stock, and a rigid PET, and performed extensive testing on fiber and paper-based trays. To date, none of these solutions have delivered the cost, performance, or customer acceptance rates we'd like to see, but we're not discouraged. Progress often means that some ideas will work while others won't. It's important. The important point is that we're committed and we continue to experiment, and we need the help of packaging companies to bring us new ideas.
Thank you, Tyler. What are you doing in deli, meat, and seafood packaging to reduce plastic and making packaging more recyclable, reusable, and compostable by 2025?
Well, Maggie, we're working hard to meet our 2025 packaging goals. A good example is our Sam's Choice shrimp cocktail tray, which we converted from a non-recyclable black PET tray to a clear PET shrimp tray. The black plastic previously used was unable to be sorted at recycling facilities, and moving to a clear tray allows facilities to sort that plastic for recycling. This may seem like a small design change, but with Walmart's scale, these small packaging changes can all add up to have a big impact. Creating a sortable tray that can be recycled is equivalent to removing an estimate of 19 million bottles from the landfill annually. While this is a great example of plastic reduction in designing packaging for optimizing and advancing recycling, our shrimp rings are no longer black plastic, but the clear PET thermoforms are often still not accepted for recycling at all facilities. We need infrastructures to be able to recycle this. It's not good enough just to design something to be ready for the recycling system. If the infrastructure needs help, we all need to collectively work together with suppliers, MRFs, NGOs, and others to improve it.
Thanks, Tyler. Those are some great examples into the need to work together to increase the infrastructure to improve recycling rates. Alon, what are your thoughts on that, and what is Sam's Club doing to use more sustainable packaging?
Maggie, I completely agree with Tyler. At Sam's Club, we are doing a lot to have more sustainable packaging for our products. Here are a few examples. In a Members Mark half-liter water, water bottles. We replaced 20% virgin plastic with post-consumer recycled content, resulting in an estimated 11,000 metric tons of virgin plastic use avoided annually. In Members Mark Deli Meat, we are implementing a step approach to slowly remove excess plastic and move to a sortable and recyclable format. In July, we started removing the lid from our deli meat containers in a few DCs as a test. And additionally, we are in the process of converting to a sortable opaque tub by end of year. Once completed, this will be an estimated 440,000 pounds of plastic lids removed annually and 2.3 million pounds of plastic tubs able to be sorted when put in the recycling stream annually.
Wow, Alon, that's a lot. And it's great to see all the changes being done to help meet our packaging goals. Thank you all for all our panelists today and for sharing some great examples of how we're working to achieve our 2025 goals.
Circular Connector. Companies like Walmart are setting virgin plastic reduction targets and goals to achieve 100% recyclable, reusable, and industrially compostable packaging. To achieve these ambitions, innovation is needed. But where do companies go to find solutions? And how do innovators connect with the companies who need their help? Welcome to Walmart's Circular Connector. The Circular Connector is designed to help bridge the gap between those who need solutions and those offering them. At Walmart, we can make change happen through our power to connect. Change makers with innovators, creators with problem solvers. Starting with packaging, the tool is designed to help make connections and be a catalyst for circularity. Starting in early 2022, innovators will be able to submit packaging information into Walmart's Circular Connector through a dedicated webpage on walmartsustainabilityhub.com. Then the matchmaking begins. Walmart connects the dots so that you can use the solutions to solve your sustainability challenges. Submissions will be screened to check for alignment with Walmart's corporate sustainability goals. Submissions that pass the screening will be made available to Walmart private brand associates and suppliers for the consideration. At Walmart, we believe it is important to build connections that bring innovators together with the builders. To build a circular economy, we must shift course, and change begins with connections. Say hi to Walmart's Circular Connector and come join us.
Hi, I'm Rob Nickel, Vice President, Corporate Affairs and Communications, Walmart Canada, and co-chair of the Consumer Goods Forum's Plastic Waste Coalition of Action. I'm here to talk to you about CGF's Golden Design Rules, a series of rules that have been developed to inform how we design plastic packaging and to help accelerate progress towards using less and better plastic. And yes, better plastic does exist. The fact is that when we create value for plastic, we reduce the chance that the material will become waste. This was part of the thinking behind developing the Golden Design Rules for the CGF's Plastic Waste Coalition of Action. Let's get to our panel. A huge welcome to you all. Nikki King, Head of Sustainability, Unilever North America. Chastity McLeod, Director of Technical Packaging for Nestle USA. Greg Cora, Worldwide Director, Global Packaging and Sustainability, Colgate-Palmolive, and Corey Nook, VP of Research and Innovation, Packaging, Danone North America. Greg, why is design such an important topic? How does it impact your other packaging goals, such as recycled content?
Absolutely. So design to a brand owner and a manufacturer is one area that we can control and we can take leadership on to create change. And as we transition from today's linear economy to the circular economy, our place within that shifts a little bit. So if you think about our packaging as feedstock into the recycling stream, improving the purity and the yield of that stream improves the quality of the recycled content material that we take out. So that's why the design rules about improving our materials, eliminating problematic, is connected to recycled content because one will benefit the other in the circular economy.
And building on Greg's points, which I fully agree with, I do think there's a ton of opportunity, specifically on recycled content, to figure out ways that we embed that into our design up front to really drive the demand and the economics in that recycling, call it loop, if you will, or the circular cycle of plastics. And at Danone, we've started to actually build out a methodology to try to offset some of those increased costs of recycled content, because we all know that it's extremely challenging to get access or even to afford some of these for products that we're launching in the market, which may be more for a value-based consumer, if you will. So we look at things in kind of a 360 approach where, from a top-line perspective, how do we grow this brand or this product by leveraging the sustainability messaging on shelf, or even making the design look different, or thinking about not just plastics, but maybe we look at paper or a combination of the two so that a consumer actually picks it up and recognizes there's something different here. Maybe I need to adjust my behavior, if you will. And in addition to that, also looking at just all the different pressures in the environment. We've got legislation laws happening in California and Maine. Also, in working with big strategic partners like Walmart specifically, we're all aligned to a common goal to kind of add materials and include recycled content. But if we don't do that, we're going to have fees, we're going to have taxes. We're also going to have customers that maybe not like us very much anymore and potentially will erode that top line. So there's a real cost of inaction there. And that just comes with the fundamentals of being able to, redesign a pack so it's more optimized, less trucks on road, or to add in certain new technologies or change your decoration methods to have it be more recyclable, lighter weight, lower cost. Because what we're finding at Danone is making some of these changes, it's a significant amount of capital expenditure in the tens of millions of dollars. And it's not easy to do that if we're not looking at the rest of the 360 methodology to really build these business cases up and drive them to a successful launch in a place that actually hits home with consumers and helps us sustain our business from a P&L perspective.
Greg, do you have any examples of product packaging that have undergone any of these design changes? Can you share an example with the audience?
Absolutely. In the U.S., on our oral care and personal care ranges, we've moved the labels to washable adhesives to improve the yield and purity of the PET stream, which is Rule 1. Also, Rule 6, we've moved some of our pouches and sachets for shampoo in Southeast Asia to monomaterial design. And then on eliminating PETG, we designed our Elixir toothpaste line with its thick-walled cap using PETE instead of the easier to process PETG to keep that PET stream clean.
Chastity, which design rule do you think will be the most difficult to implement and why? And what else is needed to help?
One of the really difficult things that we're going to have to tackle in the next few years is increasing recycling value in consumer flexible materials. To achieve this, we're going to need to leverage the existing end of life options that are out there, like store drop off. But we're really going to have to focus on driving new infrastructure development so that we're able to recycle flexibles on a large scale. At Nestle, we've done a lot of work in this space in the past through initiatives like our Materials Recovery for the Future, which was a pilot that we did focused on demonstrating the ability to sort flexible materials. And now we're working with the Recycle Partnership and their Flexible Films Coalition to develop infrastructure solutions for flexibles going forward. It's going to be a heavy lift for us to tackle flexibles in the future.
And I can build on that as well, Nikki. I think we're also in that boat with many, many yogurt cups going out into the market today with thermoforming technology. And as we move it from a polystyrene to a PET, there's a significant amount of challenges. And working with Plastics Pact, working with the Recycling Partnership Coalition, and really getting ahead of this and trying to shift the industry to take these curbside, I think is ultimately going to unlock a lot of opportunities for us. But we do feel as though this is probably the most challenging of the Golden Design Rule, because the recycling infrastructure in North America has just not matured the way that, say, a PET bottle recycling has.
And I'll build onto that. I agree that this is absolutely the most challenging of the design rules. But solving for this particular rule really could have a tremendous impact, because recycling flexibles is currently not done at scale. And it's estimated that the flexibles make up more than 50% of the total packaging market. And as you mentioned, Corey, there are significant challenges with the collection and reuse of flexible packaging today, with the lack of infrastructure. There's also a need for consumer behavior change, especially here in the U.S.
Nikki, do you have any examples of product packaging that have undergone any of the CGF Golden Design Rule changes? Maybe you could share an example with the audience.
Absolutely. So first of all, many of our brands, including Dove, Love Beauty and Planet, Hellmann's, and Seventh Generation, are already 100% recycled content in our bottles. And our total mass market portfolio uses about 50% recycled content. That's one example. Another example is with Golden Design Rule number 2, and that's on our recent work on Black plastics. So Unilever, with the support of the APR and a cross-industry working group, invested in an innovative solution to address this challenge. And after 2 years of conducting trials and testing on our own products, this collaboration has proven a color-based technology that will produce sustainable Black plastic that can be recycled at scale. And to date, Unilever has transitioned its complete Axe portfolio while also continuing to use 100% PCR plastic. And our TRESemmé brand is soon to follow.
There's always more than one way to solve a problem, right? You guys have gone through and found technology that allows you to keep Black. Our approach has been to actually remove pigments from our products. And I'm proud to say that in early, the front half of next year in 2022, you'll see that we're transitioning all of our Stouffer single-serve portfolio to non-pigmented trays that we think will allow us to more readily recycle those trays in the U.S. infrastructure. So pretty excited to talk about that and just to show folks out there that there's always more than one way to tackle a problem.
And other ways, with design, we can actually get away from that, where if we have a cup today that has, various areas where, say, an Oikos Black branded product really, really needs to have that Black stand out on the shelf and engage with consumers. Well, why don't we redesign the cup to have a full label wrap? And that full label can actually be PET, can be Black. And we just eliminate all pigment from the natural cup behind it.
Chastity, what would your ask be to those companies who haven't yet adopted these golden design rules? What is the value for them in participating?
I'd ask them to really consider applying the principles to their design intent and their design methodologies. If they can't adopt all of the principles, adopt the ones that work for their organization. The goal would be to drive momentum and impact and start the progress towards implementing solutions that are better for the environment. We need everybody engaged and driving collectively to make large impacts. So I say take a couple, run, try them out, apply them, and just sit back and watch the value they bring to the organization.
And I think there's tremendous value in just that peer support system that we're creating and seeing the consolidated learning, the shared pipelines of inspirational design moments, and to help us better define what is meant by embedding these guidance rules, if you will, into a framework for our scorecards that drive that performance and really outlines and measures that embeddedness in performance that we can all, speak a common language to.
And the challenges we face are bigger than any one organization can solve or any one part of the value chain can solve alone. And by having common rules that we can work towards, that's where we'll get the scale to drive industry transformation.
Yeah, and I totally agree. The industry needs to continue to evolve to have the impact needed to manage the waste and create a circular world. And this is going to be the cost of entry with our consumers in the future. So totally agree. We all need to adopt these rules and work together to make the biggest difference.
Well, thanks to all our panelists for a great conversation. We've heard about the importance of working together, using the same terminology, tackling solutions in multiple ways, and the need to go beyond design, in particular looking at scaling, sorting, and collection. Now, let's hear a little more about policy.
Hello, and I'm Ashley C. Hall, and today on Who Wants to Recycle More? We tackle policy. Let's introduce today's contestants. Christine from Bakery, Scott from Automotive, and Amy from Sports and Fitness. We all know the rules. Let's begin. Question 1. How much does it cost to collect sort, and recycle packaging? A. It is less expensive. Making new material is costly. B. Breaks even. No pain, no gain. Or C. It is cheaper to landfill and make new products than it is to recycle. Final answer? The answer is C. It is cheaper to landfill and make new products than it is to recycle. Question 2. What are some of the reasons for why it is so expensive to recycle? A. It is hard to know what is or isn't recyclable. B. Sorting materials is hard work, and in some places, they sort items by hand. C. Not all materials collected for recycling have value. Or D. All of the above. You all are correct. The answer is D. Question number 3. How can recycling become more effective and cost efficient? A. Dedicated, ongoing, sufficient funding. B. Make all packaging out of a limited amount of materials. C. Create a value stream for all materials, investing in recycled content. Or D. All of the above. The answer is D. Once again, you all are correct. Question number 4. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and other leading organizations on the topic, what is the only proven mechanism to deliver dedicated, ongoing, and sufficient funding for recycling? A. Mandatory fee-based EPR. B. Voluntary funding provided by businesses, philanthropists, or others. Or C. Public funding through general, national, or local government budgets. Christine, you are correct. The answer is A. Mandatory fee-based EPR. Question number 5. So what is EPR? A. Extended producer responsibility, a type of policy that places the responsibility, financially and or physically, for treating or disposing of a product or packaging after its intended use on the manufacturer or producer. B. Extra packaging resources, a pot of money essentially refilled voluntarily from businesses and others. Or C. Easy peasy recycling, or the theory that doing the same type of activities that historically have not yielded positive results will eventually make the desired change. You all are correct. The answer is A. We're now at our final question. Scott and Amy, this is your chance to catch back up to Christine. She is leading by 1 point. Question 6. Do companies support extended producer responsibility? A. Only a few companies who are environmentally focused. B. Over 100 leading businesses, including L'Oreal, Mars, Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, and Walmart, all recognize EPR as a necessary part of the solution, without which packaging recycling is unlikely to ever scale. C. Maybe more companies should consider supporting EPR. Or D. A combination of both B and C. Again, you are all correct. The answer is D. Christine, you have come out today as the champion of Who Wants to Recycle More. Congratulations. And to celebrate your win, we have a special prize for you. Please take a moment and share with us what you have won.
These lovely Groove on-ear headphones. Do I get to open them?
Go for it.
Okay. And this amazingly simple, beautiful packaging.
Looks like there's some work to do right there on that packaging.
A moment.
Come on, use your muscles. You can do it, Christine.
I didn't bring any scissors to the office.
How sharp are your teeth?
Apparently not sharp enough, Scott. Apparently not sharp enough for this.
Use those muscles. Use those nails. You got this.
Woo. I cannot wait. This is amazing. Groove on-ear headphones.
Congratulations, Christine, and thank you to all of our participants today on Who Wants to Recycle More, the Policy Edition.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea Scantlin, and I'm a Sustainability Program Officer with Walmart.org. Thank you for joining today, and it's great to be here. I'm excited to share more with you about Plastic IQ and what led Walmart to invest in the Recycling Partnership to develop that tool. But we know that determining where to focus to have the biggest positive impact can be difficult, especially amid these times where we're trying to support supply chain shifts and trade-offs and understand where to have the most impact. And for that reason, Walmart supported the Recycling Partnership and Systemic to develop Plastic IQ. Plastic IQ is a powerful free tool to help you and your suppliers take action to reduce plastic waste, to understand what strategies you should use. Next, I'd like to introduce Keith Harrison, CEO of the Recycling Partnership, to share more about the tool and how you can get involved. We're honored to be on this journey with you.
Thank you, Chelsea. Good morning. This is a big day for Plastic IQ, and I'm thrilled to share this stage with our founding supporter, Walmart, and you, the companies who are committed to the circular transition for plastic packaging. The Recycling Partnership works across the value chain to understand the multitude of needs, not just for recycling, but for all materials to have access to a more circular economy. That's what Plastic IQ is all about. Plastic IQ allows us to explore a variety of data-driven solutions within the recycling, reuse, material substitution, composting, reduction, and design for policy space. So we know that your company has made pledges and goals. You are working hard to connect the dots between the US Plastics Pact, between the Recycling Playbook, APR design guides, WWF. You are looking to pull all of this together to make sure that your company can reach your goals by 2030, if not sooner. That's where Plastic IQ comes in. Plastic IQ is the tool to balance your trade-offs and opportunities between the goals you've set and how you measure your impacts. It provides real-world case studies and thinking for making sure that you are pulling the right levers at the right time to meet your goals. It's easy to be part of Plastic IQ. 4 steps. First, create a pro account. Second, explore the solutions and the strategies. This is an interactive tool. As you can see, there are a lot of opportunities for you to customize it to exactly what you produce and what your goals are, so that you know which decisions are best to allow you to meet your targets. The next step, submit those targets and put them forward to be in a public place on our leaderboard. Our leaderboard is where we're able to recognize you for your hard work. And finally, the 4th step, share your targets with Project Gigaton. Today, we are thrilled to highlight the companies who are committed to transparency and taking action towards a circular economy because they're committed to building the system of the future. More than 120 companies have set up pro-user accounts, and we have more than 110 strategies underway. The leaders that you see here are making that public. Congratulations to these companies. They have made a commitment to provide recyclable packaging, to label it accurately, to use packaging with as much post-consumer material as possible, to reduce overall use, and to help build a better system so that our consumers, our public can trust that together we're building a circular economy. What I think is so exciting about Plastic IQ is what I said at the beginning. It connects very closely to the other important goal setting and measuring tactics that are out there. But it's not in a vacuum. Because it's part of the Recycling Partnership, we're bringing forward our data, our on-the-ground experience with thousands of communities, policy work, consumer behavior, and really an understanding of what it will take to drive a better system so that we all win. So I hope that you'll get started today with Plastic IQ. Next up, Ashley C. Hall is here to tell you about how using Plastic IQ can help level up in Project Gigaton.
Thanks so much, Keith. So as Keith mentioned, Plastic IQ is designed to look at the entire ecosystem. And that means working across a range of different initiatives and platforms that are used in the US. So you don't have to keep importing and exporting information, which I find to be super helpful. And you can specifically use Plastic IQ to help you flesh out your strategy in a customized way. So if you are a company who's already set a SMART goal in the packaging pillar of Project Gigaton, first, thank you. If you have, use Plastic IQ to help create that customized approach of how you're going to achieve your goals. If you haven't set a goal in Project Gigaton yet, as Keith mentioned, in 2021, you'll be able to take the information and have it transfer over into Project Gigaton. So if you've already set targets in Plastic IQ, it can be transferred over to Project Gigaton. Easy peasy. That's what we want to make this. We want to make it win-win for everyone. We hope that you'll consider using the Plastic IQ tool. It is an opportunity to show your leadership in this space. So please consider going to plastiqiq.org for more information and to sign up. And we can't wait to see you on the leaderboard. Thanks so much.
We are working with suppliers, customers, and communities to accelerate the adoption of circular packaging and products. Together with PepsiCo, we are piloting the collection of bottles and cans at Walmart and Sam's Club stores in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa is known as a recycling desert, where curbside recycling is hard to come by. Now the local community can recycle bottles and cans, get rewards for recycling, and have the opportunity to win a chance to go to the Super Bowl. These types of programs matter to our customers.
We think we have a responsibility and a great opportunity to partner with great companies like Walmart, Sam's Club, to make recycling available for our consumers.
We want to see more companies lean in with us on piloting and then scaling reuse and refill systems. We want companies to innovate to reduce plastics, work on airspace reduction, and minimize overwraps.
We're problem solvers, so let's solve these problems.